I see one. What'd you blank out for a second?
We back? Are we back today?
We bike.
Welcome back, everyone, to the next episode of the SHRUG Life podcast. I'm here with my boys today, John and Rob, and we're just gonna talk about a few things and get a few things off our chest, because we like to play video games. How y'all doing?
Agreed.
How y'all doing this week, fellas?
I'm okay. Really tired.
But I'm psyched up. I'm psyched up for this whole thing. Let's go.
Yeah, I feel, I gotta be honest, I feel some type of way this week. Twitter's been brutal, and
I love and hate Twitter.
I just, it's like, I want to kind of say that, like, you shouldn't judge things based off of what's on Twitter, because a lot of it is just nonsense. So, but I do feel like a lot of the core gaming community is on Twitter, and they're talking about stuff, and it is a bunch of ridiculousness, and I feel some type of way this week. So I'm just starting it off like that.
What was it you saw that grinded your gears?
Well, we can jump right into it with the first thing. There's a narrative going around with Game Pass, which, I don't think anybody here has an issue with Game Pass. We all think it's a valuable service and whatever. There's nothing wrong with it. But now there's like a narrative going around that, like, if you don't subscribe to Game Pass and you buy games full price, you're an idiot. Like, people are like being like attacked on Twitter for buying games full price. I don't really like that, because that's kind of how we've been doing things forever. So we're all just supposed to switch over the last year because Xbox told us to? I don't know.
I mean, I wouldn't even lean on the fact that it's like, oh, that's what we've been doing forever. I mean, everything's, people are buying a lot more digital stuff now too. That we thought that wouldn't catch on as fast as it did, and but I think that it's just more so the people that are putting that narrative out there are probably got skin in the game, and it's easy enough for all the Twitter people, the followers, to be like, yeah, and they just jump on that train, man, and latch on, and because they feel like it's like their duty to represent or to boast, hoist up that Xbox narrative. You know what I'm saying?
Marketing.
Yeah, I don't know. I just don't understand that. I don't understand, like, what do you get out of going on Twitter and making a troll account, because it's not your main account, it's a troll account, and literally just trolling people for spending their money the way that they want to spend it. It just doesn't make any sense to me. It's just really confusing. It's like, is it like a bunch of the same people just trolling everybody, or is it really a bunch of different people just on there just going nuts? Like, I don't really understand it.
I think it is. I think it's a big part of the Microsoft marketing strategy, to put that narrative out there that Game Pass is the best way to play games, and it's a cool way to play games. And it's non-traditional, it's new, but if we want to keep playing video games in the future, they have to make money. And from my understanding, Game Pass is not making a profit yet. And Microsoft's got the pockets to, let it ride for a while where they're not making money on it yet. But also, at the end of the day, it's like, if we want to be able to get games in the future, to refund those games to get made, it costs money. So, if we want new games, if we want new ideas, we're going to have to pay $60, $70, $50. I'm willing to pay that, and some of these people that's probably saying this too probably didn't grow up in the era of Super Nintendo and Genesis when you was paying fucking $80 for a cartridge.
Right.
believe me, if the games that you want to play are on Game Pass, by all means. But there's new games coming out every day, every week, and they're not always going to be on Game Pass. They're not always going to be on some kind of service like that. And if you want to play it, and it's your money, and you bought the system to play games, I don't see how you're going to sit there and wag your finger at somebody for making that choice, and not being like, well, I'll just wait a year or two for it to come to Game Pass if it does, or if it doesn't. And that's my only, you know what I mean? That's, you can't. I don't think you can. I don't think you're standing on any kind of solid ground.
I think also
people.
too that it's immature and stupid of people to act like that. This should be the only way that we consume games. Like it's just dumb to make it like this is supposed to be the way. Like, you know, like no, we, you know, in the same way that there's people out there that think it's dumb that people still buy discs, or you know,
or that some people buy all digital.
Right.
I mean, I just think that Game Pass has become a talking point for certain people.
Yeah.
And it's because it's something that Xbox has, you know, exclusively on their platform. It's something that you can jab at the other side. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And it kind of reminds me of kind of like back in the day when PC people would always be like, yeah, you should get a PC so you can like pirate games because we don't pay full price for games.
Oh yeah, we don't pay for Xbox Live. Like we don't pay to play online. Like,
right. It kind of feels like something similar like that, but it's like, you know, because it was PC people, nobody really cares about anything they say. But with Xbox, I feel like there's a lot more people that play Xbox, and that company holds a lot more weight. So, and as we know, you know, Phil Spencer is a master narrative spinning. You know what I mean? That dude's a mastermind at spinning the narrative and changing the narrative to fit, you know, what he wants. And so, you know, I mean, it's good for Xbox, but it's just kind of a weird thing to be like attacking people and telling them that they're like stupid for paying full price for games. Yeah. It's just, I don't know. It just seems like the gaming industry is just changing so much, and we're having discussions about things that we've never talked about before.
I mean, a lot of it is because, just like you're saying, these companies are pushing narratives, and I've seen. Do you guys remember? You remember right before? It was like right after the new generation of consoles were announced, and there was this whole PlayStation wasn't out yet, nothing was out yet, but there was this whole push. Like I mean, I saw several articles. I sent y'all some articles where people were talking about. They were like, "Oh, Sony's gonna lose this console generation because they made a console.
Oh yeah,
the future of gaming is all streaming." And the companies that you need to watch out for is Microsoft and Steam and Stadia. Remember they were like, Stadia's gonna nail it.
I just be thinking that shit like
where's Stadia?
Stadia is fucking dead
in the toilet.
Doo-doo.
Even Stadia was like, oh, we didn't do it right.
Yeah, I think that's like that's another marketing thing. Like they throw shit at the
y'all remember
wall,
that? It was like a whole push. I sent y'all like two. I think it was like 2 or 3 articles, and they almost seemed identical. From like one was from like Forbes.
Oh, forget it.
One was from like another game company. If you
get a news article from one of these big ass money publications, like. They're trying to push a narrative. They've been paid by someone to push a narrative, whether it's like Forbes or Bloomberg or, you know, one of these other big money freaking, especially Forbes. I feel like Forbes be trying to like be in the console conversation so that it can affect the market and niggas can like, headlines. Go do their little daily trades or whatever. Like, yeah, we're about to buy some of this or that, you know, stock or whatever. But yeah, I don't know, man. I feel like sometimes with gaming, news and media, especially when like something new is about to come out, like Like, the people with serious money, like Google or Microsoft, like they'll start these like narratives, on Twitter and in the news to kind of sway people away from the old traditional way of how we consume games. You know what I mean? Like the old ways of playing games that we've always played, like with Nintendo and what Sony is still doing. So I get it, but to me, it's kind of it's like a sleazeball way to me, like the way that Microsoft is doing it. It's like show up with content, show up with dope content, and you know what I mean? I think that'll speak for itself. Don't just be like, oh, it's bad that you're paying $70 for a game. Actually, no, it's great I'm paying $70 for a game, because this PS5 first year launch was probably the best first year launch I've ever, had. Granted, this is the first time I bought a console at launch, but I've been gaming a long time, and I've never been motivated to buy a console at launch until now. And the PS2. But I could,
it's been a pretty good first 8 months since PS5 came out.
Yeah.
This is definitely way better than PlayStation 4. I would say PlayStation 4 was like we were playing the same 2 or 3 games for like
a year and a half.
Yeah, 2 years.
Yeah.
This is way better than PS4. But yeah, I just, the narrative spinning, it's just really irritating. I mean, it's not a big deal. It's just Twitter. You know what I mean? Like, people are on there just to argue. That's what it's really all about.
Yeah.
So, I mean,
you can have some good conversation on there, but it just gets juvenile, and it's like, yo, man, grow up just so you can win the argument. Like, niggas just be saying dumb shit sometimes. Like, and I think this whole Game Pass argument is another. It's just people trying to win the argument instead of looking at facts. Like, no, there's some of us who can afford to buy games at $70 a pop, and there's some of us who want to experience the newest, freshest thing and not wait 2-3 years to play, whatever. And this is my other point I forgot to make real quick, and then I'll shut up. If you got Game Pass, right? All right, so how many games are on Game Pass right now? Like 100, right?
Or whatever. 300.
Whatever the fuck. Who has time to play
ever made
20 games, let alone 100? 10. Who has time? Are you if you got 10, let's say I got 10 games from, a Sony Pass or a Nintendo Pass. Yo, I'm not going to be able to beat 10 games in, I'm lucky if I beat a game in a month.
Year.
If it's over 50 hours, I'll be lucky if I beat that shit in a month.
Nigga, I've been playing Ratchet and Clank for 3 weeks.
Yeah, bro. I still ain't beat it.
I still ain't beat it. So my thing is like with something like Game Pass, I think what it's for like a person who doesn't really have a whole lot of experience with playing games. You come in, you get Game Pass, it's really cheap. You can kind of browse around.
Yeah.
You can kind of. Yeah, you can
jump
figure
around.
out what your tastes are.
Right.
And I think that's what it's good for. But for somebody
which is cool.
For somebody who knows what they want to play,
like us,
half the shit on there I don't want to play.
Yeah, dude. Half the shit I played already.
Not even half. 90% of the games on Game Pass, either I've already played, or I can buy it for $5 off the PlayStation
and own it
store.
Forever.
If you really gotta play it through,
it's not like,
because part of it is like I might want to play that game, but I'm not gonna play it through, so there's no sense in me buying it.
right.
Good day, sir.
Yeah,
I don't. The thing is, we don't pay full price for most games. We just let them drop in price.
Yep.
Yeah, I mean, if it comes to that, that's the thing we'll do too. And I feel like that's a good system. It's just like Rob was saying. Like I feel like if you get to this point where every game is subsidized by the company, subsidized by Microsoft or subsidized by Sony, in a way that they know that this game ain't going to go out in a full price, full release manner. Like, I feel like that quality does suffer in that regard.
That's my main problem with Game Pass, is that if people want this to be the only way to consume games so bad, like, the quality of shit is going to be...
Yeah. What you're asking for isn't... It's like one of them tricky genie wishes where you can get a ton of games, but it's going to be all a bunch of shit.
What you wish for,
right? Because nobody's going to spend. I mean, no publisher is going to spend $200-300 million on a game and then just drop it on Game Pass for free. That's just not. Right. Microsoft is not going to give a company $500 million to put a game on Game Pass, because that's the kind of money that they're missing out. Like a game like Resident Evil 8, for instance. That's a game that if it sells 10 million copies, that's millions and hundreds of millions of dollars for Capcom.
Mm-hmm. That's going to fund
Is Microsoft going to
Mm-hmm.
Is Microsoft going to give Capcom that money up front? No, they're not going to give Capcom $300 million for Resident Evil Village to go on Game Pass. That's fucking stupid.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
So it makes sense for certain games, but then for other games, it doesn't make any sense. So that's what I'm saying, and that's the whole thing with Game Pass. Like if you're a new gamer who wants to try out a bunch of stuff, it's great for that. But for somebody who's like, I'm gonna get this, I'm gonna get that, I'm gonna get this, and then everything else, I can just wait for that shit to drop in price.
Yeah.
Then it doesn't really make make sense for you.
Yeah. The way they're pushing it is weird, but I think that's just all. It's all advertising and marketing, and I think people kind of lose that.
Right. Microsoft's trying to shift people over. Microsoft's trying to get people to switch over, like what happened with the 360. Except this time, Sony actually has, a lot of great games right now on PS4 and PS5. And I think once Microsoft finally puts out a fucking first-party studio game, which I saw on Twitter was like 2-3 years ago, the last time they put out a first-party game. Once they start putting out those games again, then they're gonna shut up, because they're gonna want to make that money back that they spent, for all these studios. And
do you think they're gonna switch? Once they get
of
these
course,
studio games,
they're gonna be like, "Yo, this is $60, bro," or probably put out another
70.
Yeah, 70, or put out another, Game Pass.
They're gonna be like
Platinum or something like.
Yeah,
they're gonna be like, only on Xbox. Get this game now.
Costs money. It costs money to make these fucking games, bro.
This is my thing. If you don't think that price for Game Pass is gonna double within the next couple of years, when Microsoft actually starts Starfield, and,
facts.
The next Elder Scrolls game, when they really start dropping, because they got a lot of stuff coming. I'm gonna give it to them. They got a lot of shit coming.
I'll give them that.
When these big, because Halo Infinite, that's rumor is that's the most expensive budget for a game.
$500 million? Y'all believe that?
$500 million. You think they're not gonna raise the price of that shit?
Yeah. And that multiplayer is going to be separate, and
it is.
That people are going to want to get on that. Is it free to? But you still got to pay for your online or nothing. You don't it's not on Game Pass or nothing.
Completely. And Microsoft changed their policy where you don't have to have Xbox Live to play free-to-play games now. So the multiplayer for Halo Infinite is completely free.
Interesting.
Everybody with an Xbox or a PC will have access to it.
So that's a console seller move right there,
basically. And then there's another rumor too that the Halo campaign is going to be like broken up into like episodes. Didn't I hear something about that today on Twitter or yesterday?
I don't know. I mean, as far as I know, the Halo campaign is going to drop on Game Pass. I don't know if how they're going to sell it separately, or they haven't really detailed anything because they don't really have a release date for the game yet. So. I don't,
That shit ain't coming out this year, bro. I don't think so.
Well, we'll see. I don't know. I'm not going to speculate on it, but if it got delayed, I wouldn't be surprised. Yeah. Especially considering they didn't show the campaign at E3. That's red flag.
Maybe the multiplayer come out first, and then
They might try to pull that card.
But I guarantee you, when they start putting out finally start putting out first party games, them motherfuckers ain't gonna be on Game Pass right away. And Game Pass is definitely gonna go up in price the same way that Netflix goes up every fucking year. It seems like, and then not now, but it's been a while now. Netflix has tiers, like, if you want the 4K 4 devices is somewhere around like $20 or something like that. And then, if you want, just 1080p or whatever, 2 devices, it's less, and so on and so forth. So
Yeah,
that's coming.
I don't know. And that's why I'm not comfortable with tying myself into a subscription service for like all of that. I mean, of course, you don't have to subscribe to it forever, but I'm not comfortable tying my like gaming existence into whatever Microsoft gives me to play. Fuck that shit.
Yeah, I agree.
My final words is check the fine print on that hype train you're riding in. Just kind of peel up the corner of the carpet in your little train car and look under there for that fine print and realize that it's just you're just
really
riding a
what it
marketing
is.
train for them. You
Right.
know, they ain't paying you. They
That's
ain't
really
paying
what
you.
it is. They're trying to get everybody to jump back over to Xbox after, PS4 just basically dominated. And but like Jim Ryan was saying, you can't just throw money at the problem. Well, we're going to talk about that, but yeah, you got to show up with games, dude. Like, you can't just be like, oh, here's the service with a bunch of old games and then 1 or 2 new games. No, you got to actually come with the content.
Yeah, I mean, you got to be able to drop your own stuff. You mentioned Jim Ryan. We can kind of move on to him next if you guys want to.
Sure.
So Jim Ryan did an interview with some publication. I don't. Jim Ryan is basically the head of PlayStation right now. He's
he's English, right?
man.
He's English too, like Mr. Smallhands.
Yeah, he's an English white guy.
I like him too, and his little
man.
fucking
I
mousy
miss
voice,
I
and
miss
he's
Tiny
speaking in
Hands.
Japanese and shit.
Who?
Konnichiwa. This motherfucker had a little mousy
What
voice.
was
I
his
forgot
name?
his name, bro.
Andrew House.
Andrew House.
Andrew House. Yeah.
Sorry,
He's,
dude. I shouldn't make fun of people like that, but
remember he did the Kojima like when they welcomed Kojima to PlayStation.
yeah, I remember that. I was impressed.
Yeah,
and he was
shit was
speaking
hilarious.
Japanese with him and shit.
Oh yeah,
like
little ass.
he had
hands.
them little ass hands bowing and shit.
these little tiny hands coming out of sleeves.
Kojima's like, let's see if you can fit into this cardboard box here, buddy.
Little hands.
Little hands.
But yeah, Jim Ryan is the head of PlayStation right now, basically the face. And he did an interview with some publication, and he obviously took a shot at Xbox when he was talking about how, when it comes to building out a portfolio of games, it's more about giving your creators the freedom to make whatever they want instead of just throwing money at and just throwing money around and buying up this and buying up that. That's not usually the way. So what did you guys think? What you guys think about those comments from Jim Ryan?
You want to go first, John?
I really don't. I don't have too much to say about it. I think that's been Sony's like secret sauce for a long time. Is just being like, yo, we want you to make a game for us. Do what you got to do. We'll hit you up later, and just let them do what they're gonna do and come up with the thing they're gonna come up with. Because there's been some really. I mean, they've gotten a lot of awesome games out of that technique, but they've also got some games that weren't so awesome. But that's like that's the nature of the beast. That's creative. That's the part of like trying to create something, and it's not that those games that weren't all that good were terrible. Like sometimes you can see the beginnings of something that they can maybe iterate on. So I just think that's what Sony's been doing this whole time, and Microsoft is still doing what they've been doing this whole time. I don't think that
much has changed. Yeah,
like train of thought on that whole thing is changed in any way.
Doing, this is what gave them success in the Xbox. During the 360 era was, just
second party deals.
Yeah, just buy up everything you can, and you know what I mean. It just seems like this time around, PlayStation kind of beat them to the punch. Because apparently I didn't know this, I had no idea about this, but people were saying that Deathloop is like permanent on PS5.
Really?
Yes, even
I
though
thought it was timed.
It's not. Ghostwire Tokyo is timed, but Deathloop isn't timed. It's
Arcane.
It's Arcane from
Who
Bethesda.
developed that?
It's the studio that the Xbox just bought.
Okay.
That's
So
really
apparently,
interesting.
Deathloop is not coming anywhere else. It's just on PS5. Yeah.
That's right.
It's interesting. Yeah, I mean,
Yeah,
if they had
probably
that contract in
beforehand.
place
Right.
before that acquisition.
So, yeah, I don't know. A lot of people hate Jim Ryan. I don't really hate him. I think he's been kind of doing pretty well. I mean, I kind of see, he kind of just bullshits. He just throws shit out to the media just to, say words. But, he's delivering to me. I mean, he's Heat is dropping right now. And there's a lot of games coming out. I don't think PlayStation has ever started off a generation as hot as they have this generation. So
I agree.
I'm going to give him his credit. I'm not going to beat him up about saying dumb shit to the media because he probably doesn't even want to talk to the media. He just has to because it's his job.
Yeah.
So
I'm
not going to beat him up too much about that.
We're all human too at the end of the day, and I'm sure he probably just wasn't thinking when they asked him certain questions like, the whole like we believe in generations comment.
Yeah.
That's still kind of bothers me, but at the same time I get it. Like, I can't lie. I'm very bummed about. Like around the time
what was his comment?
Horizon was announced, and when what was the other game? When God of War and something else were announced, he was asked, "Are these PS5 only games?" And his response was, "We believe in generations." That's gonna haunt him for the rest of his fucking. As long as he's had a PlayStation, that's gonna haunt him. It probably will go away after everything really is PS5 only, but I still think that no matter what.
He
What did
meant
he mean
that,
by that?
like
I don't
for instance,
understand.
like Miles Morales.
Mm-hmm.
He gave everybody the impression that was only a PS5
PS5 game, yeah.
But when it got close to launch, they were like, "No, it's coming out on PS4." Right, and so that's when everybody was like, "Well, you lied."
Yeah, well, what about Horizon? Is that going to be on PS4 only too? And he did the whole
Right, and it turns out that game is coming to PS4 and God of War
and Gran Turismo.
Right.
So by saying he believes in generations, he means he
That's the
believes
thing.
in.
That's
letting
He's not a
games go
complete
fast.
liar. He's not a complete liar.
He didn't specify. He just said that,
Right.
and that was kind of it.
So that could save
But
his ass too, because he's not a complete liar. Returnal, Ratchet and Clank, Demon Souls.
Right. Yeah, those are all PS.
You don't remember when he said that?
I believe in generations.
That shit gonna haunt him, man. That's gonna haunt him
I
for the
don't
next
pick that
2-3
up.
years.
I believe.
That's gonna
I
haunt
believe
him for
in
the next 2 or
nephews.
3 years, bro.
I don't know what this is.
I was gonna
I
make
believe
another
in
good point
great-grandparents.
about Jim Ryan and Sony's strategy though, with in regards to what he said, in response to what Microsoft is doing. That you can't just throw money at the situation in order for games to come out. You can't just throw money at to solve a content problem. And they said that with Ghost of Tsushima, the heads at Sony thought the game was actually completely different from what the final product was. They thought gameplay wise it was a completely different game, and when it got close to launch, it surprised them, and it was because they stood back and let Sucker Punch do their thing. And like Johnny said, that's always been Sony's MO. They let going all the way back to the PS1, man. That's why probably the PS1 is probably my favorite console. Is just the amount of variety, genre variety was fucking unbelievable, and you can tell that there wasn't some big wig, suit motherfucker standing in the back being like, "Oh no, you need more blood in your game, or you need guns in your game, or you need," And I feel like, at least in my opinion, Microsoft and Nintendo, maybe Nintendo's a little better at it, but I feel like Microsoft they try to control too much of what their studios do with their games. And I could be wrong, but
Look,
Yeah, they're trying to steer it towards some kind of maximum market outcome.
Oh, you got big titties in the game. Oh, you got blood. Oh, you got, you know what I'm saying? Like, oh, you got the regular white guy hero looking dude with the beard and the trucker hat or whatever the hell, like. But yeah, I think that was a shot. I think Jim Ryan took a shot at Microsoft, like by saying that, and I think that's gonna challenge them to make better shit, and I hope they do.
Yeah, I do too. I mean, I got a Series X, so it's not like I don't want to play games on it. It just sits there and collects dust because there's nothing to fucking play. So I hope they put out a game that I can turn the thing on and play it.
Yeah.
Now, I wanna move on from this and move into something a little bit more exciting.
You could put that Xbox in your bathroom and warm it up for your shower.
Get it nice.
You can heat it up, heat that bathroom so you have a nice hot bath.
CJ has one.
Nice hot shower.
Yet?
Yeah, he got it on Friday.
He got to hop online, man.
Well, he I don't want to get into all his personal business, but
okay.
He's been playing.
That's real SHRUG Life.
Playing Warzone on the Series X, and he's like, "Yo, this thing is a oven. It makes the room hot."
Damn.
So, I mean, it's nice though. It's a nice design, whatever.
Yeah.
It just shoots air out the top of it. But I do want to move on to last week. A rumor came out about EA reviving a possible IP. Now, of course, everybody jumped straight to what we all want EA to revive, a Dead Space remake or
remaster.
Something. Any remaster, I don't care. It does if it's a remaster for the new, at 4K 60 frames, I'll take it. I don't really give a shit. They just need to put out something that has to do with Dead Space, and it's starting to look like that may be happening.
And
what do you guys think?
I mean, like it. Oh, I was just saying, like how. So the parts of this rumor, how positive are we? Don't know what they're making, but they are making something from the past.
So what else could it be? If it's not Dead Space, what else could it be?
Okay.
Army of Two. Army of Two.
They're not gonna do it. Army of Two. Oh snap, son! Yo, I tried to play that game so hard. I tried to play that game. I think we did. It wasn't that fun. I would take that Resident Evil 5 we couldn't finish over that Army of Two.
But I just thought that this would be a good opportunity for us to kind of just gush about Dead Space. So, I know that we all kind of have different favorites in the series. Rob, I don't know, but I'm guessing yours is the first Dead Space is your favorite?
I love the sound design, just like the lore, man. Like I was like when Dead Space came out, I got so into the storyline and like the lore, and then like the whole part of like the religious aspect of it, and like what's this shit called when it's like a new religion or like new age or whatever. Like all of that was very interesting to me because it's sort of kind of happening nowadays. Like there's people and their connections to
whatever. We're not going to go into specifics.
Yeah, but like it was just all very interesting to me, and like on top of that game's like action and it was so scary, like, but in a good way. Like it was like you wanted to keep playing. Like it wasn't like scary like PT where you're like, yo, I don't think I could do this. You know what I mean? Like, but Yeah, man. I don't know.
What's your favorite game? Which one is your favorite?
It's part 1 or 2, but it's like I would take bits and pieces. I liked how the combat in 2 got a lot faster and like,
yeah.
Damn, and then the weapons, that game just had so much dope shit. Like between the environment, the story, cool characters, cool like gear, like the suits and shit, like the sound design. Like, if they do a remaster, whatever, please take advantage of that of the whole like 3D audio thing going on right now. Like, fuck,
yeah.
like with Ratchet and Clank, that shit is amazing right now. So I can only imagine what it would be like with a Dead Space game.
Let me jump in here. 2 is my favorite, hands down.
Okay.
I love 1. I love 3. Right, like the experience of 3 was. I feel bad about 3 because everybody hates Dead Space 3, but it was really like if you played the co-op mode, it was fantastic.
Yeah, the co-op was
2
dope.
is my 2 is definitely my favorite just because I think the balance, they found the perfect balance between horror. And action.
Yeah.
And it wasn't just like action, it was like cool action, like set pieces, and then you started kind of seeing the main character Isaac develop this kind of asshole personality throughout the game, and it went into Dead Space 3, and I think that was just like, I don't know, like I've never had a character grow in that way.
Where you turned into an asshole?
Right, where in the first game he barely talked, and then the second game, in the first game he didn't say anything, and then the second game you kind of see him kind of developing this personality, and then by the time you get to Dead Space 3, Isaac is just like, I don't give a fuck. I'm right.
If I live or die, I don't give a fuck.
John, what do you think? Like, jump in here.
I know you guys know that I have to put my chips on 3, and it's for very like technical reasons. It's not even because believe me, I love 1 and 2 a whole lot. I felt like 2 was super hard for me for some reason, and I don't remember. I just remember that game being extremely difficult for me. I don't know if that's because
I never platinumed that too.
Yeah,
and I tried
think maybe I was trying to plat, and I never did. And I got frustrated with it.
I did it. I bit the bullet. I had to do it, man.
I couldn't do it. But 3 is like super special for me for some reason. I think it kind of got ingrained in me, I guess, from playing it so many times, because I know I played it on my own.
Both of
and
us,
then there was the co-op, and I remember I played it through with Devin, and then I played the co-op through with Rob, and then I know I played it through again by myself. Like, I've played it so many times, and I feel like it's something about that game flows really good. Like, it's easy to kind of just get moving and like get to your objectives, and the action and the set is just it's just so smooth to me. I feel like there's almost no hang-ups about like getting from the beginning to the end, and everything in between is just it's awesome, because you got, just like Devin said, you got Isaac is now in the state where he's like, whatever, man, like I don't care about any of this stuff, and he's a lot of times you're walking around with Carver, who this is all new to him. This is blowing his mind, and he's like, yo, did you see that? And Isaac's like, yo, we just got to keep moving. Like, he's like, I don't care what you saw. I don't care if it was a demon rising from the depths of hell. I've been there. I've done that. We just got to try to get to the end here. And it's amazing. It's an amazing experience.
Story
going
DLC,
from beginning
man.
to end, the story was good.
The
environment was good.
That DLC was scary as
shit. And that was that was my only, I won't say only, but that was my biggest gripe with 3 was it wasn't as scary as the first 2. And then
I felt like they did go into some more action, but I feel like they did really good with that action, the action sequences that they did create. I do remember there was some super creepy parts, but I feel like you missed out on some of the creepiness if you weren't playing with someone in co-op, because there was things happening.
They would hallucinate?
to the other player
okay.
Right.
that you weren't aware of. A lot of times, as Isaac, you would be seeing, like, Carver would be hallucinating, and so you're like, yo, do you see this shit? And then your buddy would be like, I don't see what you're talking about. And the funny part is, just like the characters had, just like we were talking, Isaac was very like, okay, I don't know, let's just keep moving, I don't care. And Carver was experiencing it for the first time. So you were almost playing the character between yourselves, if you think about it, because I remember, like, Carver would be seeing, like, we'd go through this one hallway, right, and it was, like, all decorated, like, birthday party and stuff like this, and so you're walking along, and you're like, yo, what is up with all these, like, birthday decorations and these nutcrackers and stuff, and if you're playing as, Isaac, you don't see nothing. It's just a dark hallway.
That's creepy.
Right? And so you're like, what are you talking about?
That is
You don't see, there's none of that shit's here. And then he's like, you don't see this shit? So you're having this conversation that these people probably would have had in this hallway if you're together.
Did you play one playthrough as Isaac and then the other as Carver?
Yeah.
So maybe that's why you picked up on that?
Yeah. Yeah, I think I played through as Carver as
I don't remember,
and I think I played through maybe
ago.
as Isaac with you.
You were definitely playing as Carver because
I'm not sure.
I
done it
having that conversation where you were like, Devin, do you see this shit?
Mm-hmm.
And I would be like, no, man, it's just a wall.
Yeah.
Like, I don't know what the fuck you're talking about.
Right.
Crazy.
And it wasn't until we got like halfway through the game, like towards the end of the game, where we were like, dude, I think they're purposely tricking us. Like, I think like they're purposely showing you things that they're not showing me.
Yeah.
And it was like, so like you were having a different experience than I was having. For me, I'm just like looking at you and you're like looking at the floor and shit. And I'm like, what the fuck are you doing?
That's hilarious. Oh, one more thing I was going to say about Dead Space that I think a lot of people overlook is that
and so,
Dead Space is a perfect example of, a project using its influences like to the max. Like, like Dead Space 1 and 2 obviously were influenced by Alien and Resident Evil, and also isn't there another scary space thing? Whatever. And then Dead Space 3 got, from what I heard, because I've never seen any of the movies, Dead Space 3 I heard was influenced by The Thing, or like, do you guys know The Thing? The horror movie? Or like one of those horror movies that takes place in the snow and shit, like so like supposedly
it was
Dead
like,
Space 3 got a lot of their
I see that
influence
movie
from The Thing.
Yeah,
and
I can
then
see
the
that.
first two got theirs from Alien and Resident Evil, of course. And then like I just love how they like just took that shit, took a little bit of this, took a little bit of that, and made it their own. And it was like, I just wish somebody else had bought Dead Space. Like we probably would have been on like Dead Space 6 or something by now. And it was so cool that they had like the books, and they went like the Japanese route. Like they had like books, and they had like animes, and they had like side games, and like they were doing everything, and it just like really took you into that world. Like, and I think that's I was like in it. Yeah.
I think that was interesting when they did that whole like media front, and I think they did it pretty tastefully too. I don't think people was like, "Oh, what is this garbage?" or nothing. Like I think they threw enough stuff out there that it caught everybody a little bit. It was some anime, there's some comic books, there's
side
some
games, the little like
there's some like
the little
I remember
like
playing
weird
both of the
fucking
little side games.
Yeah, the rail shooter was sick. That shit was sick.
So it's like a rail
and
shooter.
That puzzle game was alright. That shit was alright.
And then there was a puzzle. It was like a puzzle game.
The movies were decent. Like I watched.
Yeah, I played that. I played that puzzle game hard.
Yeah, so I think Dead Space 3 got a lot of flack because of it was the kind of the early days of microtransactions when that game came out. But you didn't really need the microtransactions. I mean, we played through that game multiple times. I never spent the time on any of that stuff. Yeah. They ended up taking all that stuff out.
They took it off anyway, but yeah.
I just really, I really like 2. 2 just blew my mind when it came out.
I think I might be with you on that. 2 is the best one because it was like they just perfected, what was done dope in the first one.
But I did like 3. What I did like about 3 though is I did like being able to kind of build your own weapons. How in 3 you kind of just like you would find parts and then you could kind of just go to the machine and kind of make your own different variations of weapons, and so that was
cool.
Right.
Oh yeah, you could do like the attachments
for
and
your
stuff,
style
and,
of like how
was
you wanted
cool.
to get through the
And
stuff.
It was actually pretty like in depth. So like I really did appreciate that. And 3 had some really like you were able to kind of like float around out in space. The environments were like a lot bigger. The only thing about 3 that I didn't like is that it was fucking long as balls.
It was too long. It was like 30 hours or some shit, right?
It was long, man.
Yeah. Games like that should only be like 15, 20 hours.
Was it long? It's hard for me. I got like that captor's love for it, like that like I was tortured by it, and now I love it.
It was still great, and I just hope that honestly I hope they're not doing a remake. I hope they're just doing a sequel to 3. Just put out Dead Space 4.
You don't want a remaster?
I mean, I would take that too, but
like in the same vein as Mass Effect, like a remaster, like they update the graphics and then, do both.
I mean, if they're doing a new game, I mean, tell us about it now
because the story wasn't really finished. 3 didn't really finish it just was the Necromorphs they were going to Earth to take over Earth. That's how the 3 ended.
Right.
So it's like, obviously there's room for just continuing the story. So I don't think they have to start over or anything like that.
Also, we should talk about the old Visceral team, or the guy who was like the creator of Dead Space and the head of Visceral, right? He's making a new IP that they showed the trailer. What was it, like last year sometime? And it has some similarities to Dead Space.
It was during one of the PlayStation events.
Yeah, and I can't remember the name of the game.
The name of the game.
But it looked like Dead Space because the one of the characters they showed had the health on his back. You know what I mean? Yeah. Dead Space. So hopefully that turns out good.
I mean, heck, they might be doing this whole thing just to try to steal some of that guy's.
They see people have interest in.
Because I feel like they do that. Like these companies do that.
To, like, jump in to take the shine.
I mean, it was getting a lot of buzz last week, so I'm not sure when EA's event is. They're having some kind of summer event thing. So I'm guessing if it's gonna happen, it's gonna happen there.
Yeah, the rumor is that they're gonna talk about it in July sometime or something. End of July. So.
Yeah. Just play Dead Space.
I think they should remaster. With everything else getting remastered, I think they should put all 3 games in a nice little package. Update the graphics and textures, add some 3D audio, and
it would be like a love-hate thing, because like
3
I would
or
love
all
to
of
have
them?
that, but then also I would hate to try to play through it all again.
Yeah.
Like just all of them, or who's got the time?
Is 3 because that's the
I guess you would just pick your favorite and try to get through it.
I played the shit out of the first 2.
Yeah, I only played through 3 like one. I mean, I played through it twice.
Listen,
I played through Dead Space 1 like 5 times.
Did you get the platinum?
2.
I'm ready.
I never platinumed the first Dead Space. I just played through it a bunch of times.
I platinumed the first one. Second one, I will never forget that this day I was playing, that hardcore, trying to get the hardcore trophy, and I played for like 5 hours, and I got to like chapter 8 or 9, and it was like 12, 13 chapters, and you can only save 3 times. And I had already used up my 2 saves, and I was like, all right, I'm gonna wait till right before that fucking annoying boss fight with the fucking thing keep coming back and reforming and all that. It was like right before the eye part, right?
Yeah.
And I fucking died like somehow, like, and I literally just, when I died, I just stood there like still, like,
Yeah.
are you fucking serious?
Yeah, 2 was like, it was similar to that for the hardcore run. You only got 3 saves, and if you died and you didn't save, you would just go back to the beginning of the game. And man, it probably took me like a week to do that hardcore run, and I had to build myself up to sit down.
Yeah, you had to have a couple hours, like,
man.
Yeah,
and then plan out your saves. Like, all right, I'm gonna save at chapter, whatever the first save. And that's the mistake I made too.
Then
My
you
first
get to
save, I should have waited as long as possible, like at least halfway through the game.
Then you get to the re-entry part and splat yourself on a fucking building.
Yeah,
the skydive. Remember that? That was that was so awesome.
If you got
but
hit
it
by
became a
debris,
nightmare when you were
dead.
trying to play for keeps.
So
that was it.
So
that was
go
it.
Support that.
And you can't stop it. You can't pause it.
Where can you buy it? You can't buy it nowhere. Like,
I mean, if you can play it on Xbox,
Game Pass.
do backwards compatible. Yeah, they are in Game Pass actually.
Oh shit!
Yeah, I mean, I have them on PS3, but I'm just
I got them too.
I don't want to hook up a PS3. I just don't want to do that.
Matter of fact, I think Dead Space might be in my PS3. I see the box. Yeah. Do like playthroughs.
Yeah,
I hope we do that too.
We should
like
do that one day.
with this
Just go back into Dead
whole
Space
adventure
3.
of ours, where we have like playthroughs,
for
and
a
then
joke.
we're commenting on our playthroughs or whatever.
It's because everybody played it.
Because I don't remember
and
anybody
they didn't
talking
get the
about
full
that co-op
experience.
like when it came out. Right, and they didn't have time. You got the journalists are out there like, I played it and it was like whatever, and it's like you're missing out on a lot. Like you're missing out on a lot, and people probably wanted to blame the game or blame Visceral for why would you like even make
I'm pretty sure
the
I'm pretty
two-player
sure EA
co-op
forced the co-op on
where
that.
the game
I
was.
Yeah, they wanted some multiplayer. Remember, multiplayer was just starting to get hot, and EA was trying to get all the microtransactions, multiplayer.
But I think that they nailed it. And I think that's sad that there was a lot of people didn't experience it, or there wasn't a way to kind of play both sides.
No, you had to be in co-op.
Because I don't think you could play Carver by yourself, right?
Got that somewhere.
You had to be in co-op mode.
Like
and I think that they
were
missed
in a
out.
situation where they
with
were
that
like,
a little
all
bit.
right, we have to work co-op into this game somehow. So let's do it in a way where it's actually cool. And they did, but nobody played the game in co-op. Actually, it would be a good thing for us to do would be, because I'm pretty sure there's a trophy for beating the game in co-op. We should go and look and see the percentage of people that got that co-op trophy. 'Cause then you'll be able to tell who played the game in co-op compared to just who just beat it.
Yeah. Compared to
Right. Who
compared
just beat
to
it by themselves.
like the chapter, the final chapter, type thing. God, man, I I remember. I'm so nostalgic about this game. I remember there's one scene where you're like walking along, and then one of you gets like pulled into like this alternate dimension, and the other one doesn't know it. So you're just sitting there like shooting shit, and you're like, "Yo, where are you?" I'm like getting overrun, and the other guy's like, "I'm standing in this hallway with you." It's like, I'm not standing in the hallway. And then you're like, yeah, no, you're just standing there. I was waiting for you. I've been here fighting for my life, and like the other guy didn't know.
I don't remember that for some reason.
I remember that. And
Well,
you were
yeah,
like,
something.
fighting like waves of these
Yeah.
of like necromorphs.
It was nuts.
I remember that. That was awesome. Man,
Yeah.
they really
Yes,
fucked
yes.
with you in that game, man. They really fucked with you, and I thought it was awesome. And it's sad that it didn't get no shine, but
Yep. There you go. That's what I'm here
game
for. I'm
like
here to talk
Dead
about
Space,
these little things that nobody ever experienced.
Well, first off, I think the third one may have come out at the wrong time. Like, you know, everybody was just so stuck on multiplayer in those days. Understandably, you know, because multiplayer was so new, and or at least at that multiplayer at that scale, like, you know, the whole, you know, Modern Warfare.
It might have been a weird
at that time.
I feel like it came out at a time when it was right, like, because part of it I remember about how everybody was crapping on it for the microtransactions, right? And everybody was crapping on it for the like the media. They felt like it was the media. It didn't live up to Dead Space 2, right? So there's these two things, and I felt like this was the beginning of that whole like media journalists. I'm not even going to blame the journalists. I'm just going to blame the internet. This is the beginning of like that internet hate wave. Like it like that. Basically, it got just enough bad press where people were just kind of, they just let it go. Like, people weren't, even though Dead Space 2, right. I mean, Dead Space as a whole, that whole series had mad hype. Like, people weren't just going to let Dead Space go by. But once these, like, two things kind of snowballed, people were like, oh, well, I guess that's not worth my time.
They killed the game.
And then that's what happened.
Like, killed the IP and killed the studio. Then everybody's, like, crying, like, oh, no, what about Dead Space? Y'all killed Dead Space.
Everybody took a big giant shit on it on the internet, like
no, we bought Dead Space 3.
It, so
you know, if you're not going to support the game, it's going to die.
Yeah.
Especially EA.
Well, yeah, everybody was shitting on. Everybody was shitting on.
That's one of the reasons that we're here.
I remember at the time everybody was shitting on.
That's why we created SHRUG Life.
But then Visceral were the ones that paid for it. You know, the people that worked at Visceral, they were the ones that paid for it, and it's fucked up. You know, like, they didn't deserve that. Those guys were just doing their job, and they did a great job. But, you know, they had to implement some shit that, you know, people were like, yo, what the fuck? Y'all being greedy. You know what I'm saying? It's like, you don't, this ain't that kind of game, you know? Like,
I mean, because the thing about it is now is that microtransactions are pretty common in single-player games now. You know, you play something like Assassin's Creed.
Time savers.
Yeah. You know, you can pay to basically fly through a game now.
Yeah.
Actually, this is my thing, and I'm gonna kind of segue a little bit to Ubisoft because I just want to shit on them a little bit right now. They literally build those Assassin's Creed games to force you to buy microtransactions so that you won't have to grind through those games.
It's bullshit.
Because the sad thing about it, because I had that, I bought that Assassin's Creed Valhalla for PS5 when PS5 came out, right?
You were playing it for a while, right?
The first, like, 10 to 15 hours of the game are amazing. It's like, this game is great. Like, it's fun. The story's interesting. You know what I mean? The gameplay is whatever, but it's a big open world. Like, it's fun. And then it just gets to a point where it just starts like the game just slows down and it becomes this like grind fest. And it's like, I don't want to grind through this game anymore. But then I mean, basically, once I got to that point, I just fucking gave
about
up.
how far through the game are you?
How many hours did you put in?
Probably like
20.
No, probably more than that. Probably 25. Yeah. But it just got to the point where I was just like, "Yo, I'm not doing this. I'm not about to spend. I'm not about to waste my time grinding just so I can see the rest of the story. Like, it's not worth all of that to me." And it's like they purposely make those games long and grindy to get you to buy the microtransactions.
Fucking EA, man.
To speed it up. That's Ubisoft.
Sorry. They both do the same shit.
No, yeah. I mean, there's one guy out there that's been talking about that. There's one YouTuber out there that have talked about that from the moment they began
your boy.
issuing those types of microtransactions. Yeah.
Say his name.
Yeah. And so I'm gonna give him a shout out. You can't tell me that Jim Sterling ain't out there telling y'all what was gonna happen, and he did. But yeah, because he's the first one I ever heard he's saying like, they're like, oh, these things are optional, and then but they're the ones that make it. They're the ones making it a grind. They're the ones making it slow. They're the ones forcing your hand that if you want to get through this game, they created it. They created how how are you going to sell me? How are you going to feed me the diarrhea medicine and then try to sell me the key to the toilet? Like,
you got to take a shit.
You can't
it's
be like, oh, it's not our fault that you have
like it becomes a different game.
have to do that. Yeah,
it's like, well, you got to grind for about
it's crazy.
10, 15 hours before you can get the next interesting part of the story. It's like, fuck you, I'm not doing this.
Yeah,
I'm not wasting my time with this.
Yeah, I mean, good for you, because it's sometimes hard to see what happened, like what's happening.
I mean, the thing about it
to
is
you
that it's sad
that they put you in that situation.
Cut out all of that filler and just make it into a concise 30-hour game instead of a 80-hour game, it's probably like really good. You know what I mean? But that's not how Ubisoft is going to make that money back on the game. So it's unfortunate. But I might play Far Cry 6 because I like Far Cry 5. So I don't know.
I thought about buying that. It was on sale for like $10, right? Far Cry 5.
Yeah, but I mean, it's like running at 30 frames. It's kind of, I mean, it's not ugly, but it's just, it's a PS4 game, so it's an old game. I would just wait for the next one.
That damn Blood Dragon, boy. That's my Far Cry.
I never played it in Far Cry's for too much, so I don't know.
Oh man, that game was dope. It was so funny.
Right.
Oh yeah.
Well, guys, we have gone over an hour.
Well, an hour. What else are we talking about? Are we going to talk about? We kind of already went into games media and the bullshit that they do, right?
Yeah, we did a little bit. I guess we can kind of get into it a little bit now. I just don't like how on Twitter I see a lot of these games media people shaking hands with these YouTubers, shaking hands with these corporate executives. To me, it's just kind of weird because these YouTubers have people that follow them that are looking for a certain perspective on these games. But behind the closed doors, these dudes are shaking hands and at cocktail parties with the executives that are selling the games.
So you're going to say nice stuff about us, right?
Right.
Like. Not to go back to Game Pass,
they have to say that they're doing sponsored content now.
What's making the whole Game Pass conversation so annoying too is that, like, I feel like every week there's another media person, another influencer or whatever the fuck talking about how dope Game Pass is, and it's like they all say the same 2 or 3 sentences.
Yeah, the tweets look identical.
And then niggas go to their gamer tags or their PSN IDs and look or their gamer tags and and it'd be like they didn't play a lot of the stuff that's on Game Pass, or they didn't play anything at all. I think it's for some of these people it said, oh, this person hasn't played in like 2 weeks or whatever.
Right.
Like,
yeah. Right, and they're not telling you that this, they're passing this advertisement off as their opinion because if it's their opinion, then
it's just like just be
they've been
100. You know what I mean? What I mean? But I feel like this is a marketing strategy from Microsoft, is that they'll, get a person that works at IGN or get a pretty popular influencer, who's neutral, and say, hey, talk nice about our game, You know, about our service. And oh, by the way, here's a free Series X or whatever the fuck. Like, or here's a chair. Here's a yellow chair.
I actually think that the biggest kind of like thing with all of that was the whole Cyberpunk issue where, I mean, from outside looking in, Cyberpunk looked like a slam dunk. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
That looked like a game where it was no way that game was going to fail. It was delivering in every way. You know,
man, I wanted that game to be just.
They had everybody in their back pocket. We were all gonna buy the game. I still bought the game. They were sending out the yellow chairs to the influencers and
that
those
PP
dudes
yellow chair.
Right, that PP yellow Cyberpunk gaming chair, and dudes was singing the praises and talking about, oh, it's gonna be wonderful, it's gonna be great, and the game is literally
garbage.
The game is literally unplayable. It's complete trash.
1 week
it's complete
later,
garbage, and it's not even that. It's not even that the game itself is bad. It's that you can't play the game. It's so
and those
broken.
guys.
And people were literally scrambling when that game came out to just change the narrative. And it's like they were going from, oh man, I love Cyberpunk. It's still a great game, because their reviews for the game were already out. And then the console versions came out, and then you couldn't fucking play the games. So it was amazing.
Yeah.
It was amazing.
Wait, Devin, when you played it, right?
Yeah.
You played it on PS4 first or PS5?
I only played it on PS5.
How did you play this again?
You probably only saw like the some of the minor bugs, like the pop in. Yeah, it probably wasn't as bad.
Yeah. It wasn't. It wasn't that bad on PS5.
Bad.
It was like it had a lot of like pop-in shit and like NPCs doing weird stuff.
What's the engine
like
they use?
They have their own engine.
They have their own engine. Okay.
Yeah. They have, it's called the Red Engine, I think.
Because some of that pop-in stuff reminded me of like Unreal Engine 3, like PS3 era type shit, where like a motherfucker's face will finally load in after like 10 seconds. Like,
look, when it comes to Cyberpunk, the game's good. Like, I'm not gonna sit here and say that I didn't have a good time, but it did have a lot of bugs and glitches, man. I mean, it was next level. I mean, I would say like probably the buggiest game I played since like Skyrim, when Skyrim first came out.
Oh Jesus!
Like, Skyrim was terrible.
How
it was
dare
pretty
you?
bad, and I would say that.
No.
Wait, but y'all played. Devin, you played it on Xbox, though, right?
Was pretty bad.
Skyrim.
Yeah.
Yeah, I played it on Xbox.
And it was still bad.
You could play Skyrim.
It was just worse on PS3.
Oh, it was so bad. I had to stop. I was playing it on PS3, and I was like, I'm not playing this. I'm not playing this.
No.
Play it on a refrigerator.
Play it on a microwave, man.
Now you can play Skyrim on a stick of gum if you want. It's everywhere.
The PS5.
So maybe
PS5 version.
Cyberpunk will get to that. I'm waiting for the re-release. I'm waiting for the Earth 2. Waiting for the Earth 2 release in our dimension, the PS5 dimension.
Cyberpunk, or
this one I'll play.
I thought you were talking about Skyrim. I'm like, what?
No, Cyberpunk. Yeah. So I mean,
they put out a PS5 Witcher, right?
We came right back to Cyberpunk.
Yeah, I think they patched it for the next gen consoles. Yeah.
No, they're gonna put out a PS5 version. I heard.
Oh, The Witcher 3?
Yeah, so we can get on the horse and walk a little bit and then be like.
I mean, y'all know they putting out a PS5. They putting out a PS5 version of GTA 5.
Oh God, just let that game die already, man.
Oh.
Shit. They making so much money on that damn game, though.
Yeah.
I mean, they're providing the content. It's just that shit is not fun though, yo. I tried playing GTA Online a few times, and it's just like niggas just shoot you. Niggas don't let you just explore. It's irritating.
Yeah.
Yeah, there's
All right, well,
people made a whole career out of that game.
We are hour and 10. I think we should go ahead and call it
else?
now. And anything else, we can just throw it.
Yeah,
to
how much time we're pushing here?
Well, BK,
All right, so thanks for joining us today as we talked about.
Okay, sounds good to
gaming
me.
Nonsense, and we'll try to get back to you guys. I don't know, whenever we get a chance.
John, give your best shrug.
Because this is Shrug Gaming and Shrug Life, so we don't really know.
Give your best shrug, like.
What do you want?
Give us a nice medium shrug.
What do you want?
Yeah, give
want
a medium rare shrug.
Is it like my shrugs come like steaks? Like, you want a nice medium?
You want a rare? Well done.
You want a medium rare? That's right there. You want a well done?
Yeah, I mean, we'll get back to this when we feel like it.
A medium shrug.
And
Okay,
so then just,
man.
Shrug Life. Keep it like that. Shrug Gaming Podcast, and we'll see you guys on the next one.
Peace.
Peace.